Morning, folks. I know it's been a little while. We've had a lot going on trying to finish up jobs. We got a new little endeavor that I may show you once we get a little bit farther along, but I apologize for not getting more videos out. We've just been really busy, and I'm kind of a one-man show. I video, I edit, and I've been nursing a shoulder. My shoulder's it's really been hurting me here lately. Old injuries, got a lot of arthritis in it. Just hadn't been feeling real well because of it. But we are going to be bringing you some more videos here real soon. Before I take you over and start training on Pearl, just wanted to kind of give you an update about what's been going on around here. Sunshine is doing real good. She is growing like a weed. We banded that male right there in between those two ewes. That's Chrome. The other ram just is bigger, more bone, more meat. So we decided we're just going to band him, and we will use him for meat. He's got really good color, but both of the lambs out of Missy, and that's the mom right there, she's looking at us, they just were not that big, and they didn't take off. They've all had the same nutrition, they've all had the same stuff, and genetics matter. So instead of using him as a ram, we'll just use him for meat. The other ram, we're going to breed with our Dorpers when he gets old enough. Transferring over some water this morning. Water's always a challenge. And as you can see, no Oliver and no Susie. We got rid of those. We saved this little pig right here to be our 4th of July butcher. If you haven't seen our Hash Knife interviews with the guys over at the Hash Knife, I had threatened to get rid of the hogs several months ago. I was on there and I said if they ever got out of budget, I had a particular budget that I was in mind to raise the hogs, and it just got out of control with the price of grain, and I thought it better to just go ahead and move them on. This little pig here, we'll take and we'll butcher her for our 4th of July get together, and we'll have that meat. So I'm gonna continue feeding her until the 4th of July. The night before, we will butcher her, and then we'll cook her in the ground. It's just one of those business decisions. You can't take and let your pride get in the way. I was wanting to raise hogs. It was something I was wanting to do, but the price of grain has gone through the roof. I know anybody out there with animals knows what I'm talking about. So even with all the other ways that I was keeping them fed, it was just out of our budget. So we sold them to a young man. He's going to be raising hogs. His family is in livestock. He's going to do real good. He's done it before. I was glad to see him get them. Been kind of missing Oliver down here. He always made a lot of noise when we came down here. But anyway, that decision been made. We sold them, and we're just moving forward. We're going to concentrate on the sheep and the horses. We got all these posts from a guy who's bringing them out of California. These are coming off of vineyards. This is all the posts to do all the fencing on our whole property. Yay. We are excited about this. They are used posts, but they've got plenty of life left in them, and we're going to be getting our fence in hopefully this summer. It's just one of those things where we've got to balance working on our place and everything else we got going on. So these posts right here really going to help us out. They were half the price of what you could go get them for at a big box store or something like that, and these have already been dried out, so we know that they're good posts. Some of them do have a little bit of dry rot, but they're going to be our posts for our place, Super excited about that. All of this mess, we got a shed. Miss Polly was on Facebook Marketplace, and this shed was disassembled, and it looks like a bunch of junk. I know. That's what it looked like on the Facebook ad too. It was disassembled, and they just had it laying in their yard. We picked it up really cheap. Anybody knows me I don't buy anything unless it's really inexpensive or I can get a good deal on it. So we got this shed. This is a 10 by 12. Sunday afternoon, I laid it out. This is where it will sit. Probably going to do a little porch on the front of it. This is going to replace our storage tents. I just got to get out here and get the holes drilled and get it up. I'll be bringing you guys along for that when I get the holes drilled. It doesn't have a floor, and it was sitting on railroad ties. I got those too. I'm going to put in some 4x4s, put it down a ledger board, and actually build it on top of 4x4s. Looky here, I left a drill bit out here. That's not good. So anyway, we got this shed going up. I've got enough material to build a tack room, so we're going to build a tack room with all the other materials I got. I've got these trusses that I was going to build a shed with, but I have since decided I'm just going to dismantle them, use them to build my tack room and whatever else needs to be done on this shed. So we're moving forward. It's just finding time to do everything. We've got a few more projects that we've got to finish up. We've got one in June. It's a pretty good size project. We're going to get that done. And then I think I'm going to commit most of my time to here on the homestead and horse training. If I can make ends meet horse training, I'm going to either buying and selling colts or just training folks' horses. I would like to work more with some draft horses, some draft animals. So you guys will get to see that coming up. So I've got to get over here and check on this water, make sure it doesn't run that pump dry, and then we'll work with Pearl. Today I'm gonna work her a little bit. She hasn't been worked since Sunday. I still need to trim her feet a little bit. I've been working with her feet. She got into the fence, and you can see a little place on her leg, and she really took and got into it pretty good there. One morning, probably gonna leave a permanent scar. I treated it as best I could. She's getting really good about me handling around her head, but she's just real dancy. So still working with her, still trying to get her calm enough to where I can just trim her feet. But I want to take and talk to you today about halters, the different kinds of halters that I use and the reasons I use them, and then getting a horse to drop their head and some of the benefits of that. I see a lot of people today. I watch a lot of YouTube because we don't have TV, we don't have satellite, and I see them trying to work horses in a web halter. Now I leave a web halter on her. I can walk in and just get the halter, put a lead rope in there. I've got her. I leave it on there for that purpose. I don't like leaving halters on horses, but with her it's just easier for me to approach her. Once I get a hold of her, she's pretty nice. But when it comes to working a horse, a web halter is wider. You can see right here I have a rope halter on her. It's a good quality rope halter. And as humans, we're already at a disadvantage as far as muscle mass and strength. We need something in our favor. These web halters are not your friend when it comes to a horse that's fighting you or resisting you. You can actually teach a horse to resist even harder because they're able to. The longer a horse resists, the more confident they become in resisting. So a rope halter, if you think about it like sitting on the top rail of a corral panel, or even a real uncomfortable chair. If it's uncomfortable, you're not going to sit there as long. That's the same way with this little rope halter. She's not going to take and pull on it near as long, because she's not going to be as comfortable pushing on it for near as long, or pulling on it. So that's why I use a rope halter. It's your best friend. It gives me an advantage to her strength and agility. Web halters are great for trailering, because, you know, if a horse gets down, it allows them to pull and get up. It's really safe if you're tying up a horse that's, you know, has a setback problem, so you don't hurt yourself. A good web halter. But I like my rope halters when I go to training a horse, for that very fact. The other thing is when I go to asking them to do certain things, like back up, put their head down, this rope halter is really going to be instrumental because of the way it's made. It has 2 knots. Let's see if we can turn around here, girl. It has 2 knots right here on her nose, and there's 2 pressure points right there. You see her back up, that are sensitive, and she can't resist that near as much. It's just like your elbow. I'll be talking about another pressure point up there by her pole when I go to drop her head. First, I'm going to take and work her around, loosen her up, get her mind right, and then I'll talk about dropping her head. But that's just one of the benefits of a rope halter. They can't pull against it near as hard. I ride most of my colts for the first 30 days in a rope halter. I may let them carry a bit, but I want that horse soft and compliant with this rope halter before I take and move up to a bit, which is just more pressure. It's more involved. I want the bit is to refine. This rope halter is to get the basics. So I'm going to take and work her, and then I'll talk about dropping her head. You guys can kind of see how she's doing. She's doing really good. She doesn't mind me touching her. She's still a little bit flighty around her head. I've worked a whole lot on getting her not to be head shy, desensitizing her. So take and work her, get with it. Doesn't take much pressure to go forward. When I teach a horse forward motion on cue, some people ask, how do you teach a horse to lead? I don't. I teach them to go forward on cue. If I have a mechanism, which is my first tool, I call them the 5 basic tools of horsemanship, I just teach them to go forward on cue. So what I do here is I give her direction. First step is direction, body position. I'm telling her to go that way. See how she's moving away? So I'll up my pressure, and then I'll just drive her forward. So now I'm in a driving position. I'm behind her shoulder. Drive that shoulder. Cause her to go that way. May get out of camera here. Come back into camera here. You guys will have to excuse me. I don't have a camera person. I got you guys on a post. So you see, it doesn't take much pressure because she's a ball. Get her to go. And when she goes, she really don't know what to do. So we'll just go forward again. There we go. So I'm going to work her this way on both sides, and then we'll talk about getting the horse drop their head. Not into the pressure. Direction, body position, pre-signal, pressure. There we go. Alrighty folks, hopefully I'm in a good camera frame here. So I've worked her, you can see she's sweating. I really worked her. She's a little bit stubborn on the right side. Not stubborn, she just, I don't like using that word, but I do use it. She doesn't like to go forward on the right side. Just a little bit underdeveloped, like you've seen in some of the other videos. But now we're going to talk about getting a horse to drop their head. Up here, right between her ears, you have the pole, which goes up and down, and you have the axis, which goes side to side. So that joint right in there, a lot of times I will hang on to a horse right here in case they want to slam into me. I'll keep my elbow locked. I do that a lot when I'm haltering a horse or bridling a horse, particularly for the first time. I'll take and I'll keep my elbow locked. But what I'll do is I'll start rubbing back here, run my hand up, and I will squeeze that pole. I'm not pushing down with my hand. I'm just creating pressure at the pole. And I've worked with her quite a bit on this. She's not great at it. You've seen some of my other horses, I just run my hand up and they drop their head. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna squeeze that pole. And she's doing really good. Good baby, good baby. She's tired right now too, so doesn't have quite the energy. So I want her to rest right there. Now, the benefits of this is, everybody knows if you see a horse with their head up, they're excited. If they put their head down, they're usually eating, or they're relaxed, or they're resting. There's a lot of physiology there. The horse relaxes and their saliva glands start flowing. Their gastral juices start flowing, and it releases good endorphins in their brain. You see her licking and chewing there. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So she's relaxing, and say you have a really tall horse. I can't reach my horse's head. So then what I'll do with my rope halter is I will pull down and release. Pull, there she wants to put her head up, and I'll release. Until I can get their head to a place to where I can run my hand up there and squeeze that pole and get it to drop. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So when I get a horse to release, I'll just take that whole pressure away and run my hand back up, get them to drop that head. Good girl. It's best to teach this after you've worked her. You can see her, she's sweaty. That cut down there on her leg opened up a little bit. I'll put some purple ointment on that. But there's not a whole lot I can do for it right at this moment. I am gonna trim her feet. Just working her around, her back feet did exactly what they're supposed to do, like they would in the wild. All the outer hoof wall that was overgrown broke off. That's what they do in the wild. That's what she did here. But the front ones are really pancaked out, so I'm gonna have to trim them. But I'll run my hand up, squeeze at that pole. You can find the pole pretty easy. Squeeze on both sides with your thumb and your forefinger. There we go. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. And I let her rest right here. This is just as much a part of training as anything else, is moving her feet. I want her to rest with me and know she can rest with me, and it's not just all about working. I worked her pretty hard. She was being pretty full of life, bucking and running and dragging me around. I don't have a full-size round pen just yet, so I'm just working her out here. And I don't trust her fully. I mean, she could paw me, she could take and get excited and try to run over me. So I'm always on the guard could take and put that hand out and she could run into me and knock me out of the way and not bust me in the head. So I'm really careful about how I do this. Good girl. So if you got a real tall horse, just pull down on it until they give. If they resist, just hold the pressure until they give. She's gotten really good at this. I honestly thought she would put up more of a fight, but she's pretty tired. All righty. So now I'm gonna grab the trimming tools and just try to nip her feet while she's tired. You see her, she wants to jump. Any new movements, she throws her head. There you go, good girl. And when they drop their head like that, it's really easy. Sorry about the wind. It's really easy to teach them to bring their head down and back up. So the more sensitive you can get them to dropping their head and relaxing, the easier it is to teach a horse to back up. And if you don't have a reverse on your horse, you don't have an effective stop. Stop is all about reversing. Good girl. Good girl, honey. All righty. I'm gonna take and work with her feet. And you guys kind of got caught up there. The wind has been atrocious here. We've had a terrible time with trying to video because it's just all wind and you can't really do some things with voiceover. Like the wind's blowing just now, it's starting to blow more. So it's just one of those things where we can't get a lot of videos out because the wind's blowing more this year than it has in previous years, or at least last couple of years. So that being said, be not weary in well doing, for in due season ye shall reap if you faint not. We'll see you later.